afraid the picture is clear. Our country is in peril. We are led by tyrants and cowards. Our borders are porous. The government is imprisoning its political opponents. That's right. We now have political prisoners. Ordinary, law-abiding people imprisoned for their views. Let that sink in. We all need to understand the freedoms our forefathers fought for, the cultural inheritance with which we were blessed. Neither of these things, our freedom nor our culture, neither is guaranteed. We are only ever one generation away from tyranny. We have never had to live under a fascist or communist regime. That isn't luck. People fought and died to preserve our freedoms. Yet Turkey, his starving police and his political judges with their kangaroo courts and summary justice, their failure to apply the law when it suits them, they are trampling on the Magna Carta, that document that shackles the power of authority, that shields all free-born men and women against tyrants and dictators. As Thomas Fairfax declared, holding up the Magna Carta back in the 17th century, this is what we have fought for, and by God, it must be maintained. The principle that lies at the heart of the Magna Carta is that the powers that be, they must obey the law, and they must apply it without fear or favour. That all, including the members of the government, are subject to and equal before the law. Keir Starmer, you and your political bureau, your student union cabal of tyrants and cowards, you have failed more quickly than anyone could have predicted.
Do you think we have freedom of speech now? No, 100% not. And I think that Jack's case just shows that we do not have freedom of speech in this country anymore. You cannot say what you want anymore.
No, that's gone. I thought we might have had a little bit of it, but we haven't. There's no such thing anymore.
We haven't got freedom of speech. You've got to really be careful what you say to anyone or everyone.
UK is no longer creation. If you do not have democratic options to express your disagreement with the government, that country is no longer a democracy.
Process is the punishment, and it will silence millions. And when we are silent, that is the end of our free speech. And many people still believe that if they allow the government to micromanage their lives and be their single source of truth, then things will be okay. Until one day they don't agree with their government, and they find it isn't okay because they can't speak of it. Without free speech, there is no democracy. And without democracy, there really is only tyranny.
We are free-born English men and women. Your tyranny will fail. Sacrifices have to be made. The courageous political prisoners already know that. Men sitting in jail right now, they know that. And this government will be held to account more quickly than they expect. The tyranny we are seeing now, it's been years in the making. Blair, Cameron, May, Johnson, Sunak, and now Starmer. They're all subjects of the World Economic Masters and its totalitarian agenda. Years and years of small steps, controlling your speech, importing heroin, taking your freedoms. So, the hour is upon us. The time is now. Each one of us must take a stand. We must build communities of resistance. We must organise politically. Conservative Labour, Lib Dems. We must drive every globalist from power. We must reclaim our nation.
This is what every business owner I beseech you. Resist it while you still can, and before the right to complain is taken away from you, which will be the next thing, you will be told you can't complain. Watch out for these symptoms. They are the symptoms of surrender. Resist it while you can.
We must resist while we still can.
Focus on enough fuel. We are the distraction from the issue at hand. A foreign invasion of our ancestral lands. They are no refugees. They are no fleeing from war. Most of them are fighting age men. What do you think they're coming here for? Shame on you, shame on you. We're not far, right? Shame on you. Tell the truth. Shame on you, shame on you. Shame on you, shame on you. Draped in your designer suits, paid for by Lord Ali. take the side of every minority. You brand the British people indigenous to this land. As far as racist folks, why can't you understand? They are all refugees, they are all fleeing war. Most of them are fighting age men. What do you think they're coming here for? Shame on you, shame on you. When I'm far right, shame on you. Tell the truth, shame on you, shame on you, shame on you, shame on you.
What did you think of that? Right, let's get some energy back in this house. Are we going to make sure our women and children are safe? Are we going to let the tyrannical government silence us? And are we going to let the mainstream media divide us? Absolutely not. Ladies and gents, Ezra the man.
It's good to see everybody. If I had to sum up British law in 2 words, it would be the Latin phrase stare decisis, which means let the precedent stand. Another way of saying that is, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Another way of saying that is you have to have one standard of justice, not 2 standards of justice. And what I've seen in the United Kingdom is not the UK I learned about in law school in Canada. When we studied the law, when we looked at the roots of it, the rule of law, we looked at the British cases, and it meant that no one was above the law. No one was too powerful or too fancy to be held to account, but it also meant no one was beneath the law. And I believe that that second part is a problem in the United Kingdom today. Look at the treatment of thousands of young girls in this country, like in Rotherham. They were beneath the law. The law didn't give a damn about them because they were indigenous, white British women, and that's just politically incorrect. Look at how this event is being policed today. Riot police with their riot gear. I saw one cop filming everyone's face. He told me it wasn't for facial recognition. I was in London for the 100,000 person pro-Hamas march, where they chanted for intifada, that's a violent riot against the Jews, where they called for genocide. No riot police nearby there. No one filming the faces there. I'm worried that the United Kingdom's core character of the rule of law is falling apart. And the fact that they are trying to intimidate you and not have you gather is part of that. Tommy Robinson was arrested last night under the Terrorism Act, a version of the American Patriot Act, because he wouldn't give them the cell phone password to get into his phone. That's a law for terrorists, not for journalists. Do you think they applied that law to the organizers of the pro-Hamas rallies in the city week after week? They did not. The police were not even visible in those rallies. They were hidden away. That's what they did. I think it's incredibly important that you stand up here, not just for Tommy Robinson, and not just for yourselves, but for the great legacy that you have inherited from generations that came before you. So many lives were lost over so many centuries to give Britain a legal system that everyone could trust and love. And let me close with one last point before I give the microphone back. There are some people who would drive Tommy Robinson out of the establishment, out of the mainstream, who would ban him from having rallies. But Tommy Robinson, in my view, is necessary to keep hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people involved in the system. If he's kept out, people will give up on the system. They'll give up on the freedom. Keep standing for freedom. Keep fighting for freedom. Thank you, everybody.
Here's something you'll all be interested in. So, behind the scenes, Urban Scoop have been talking to Tommy today from jail. And what Tommy has said is that in the next 2 to 3 weeks, be prepared for a peaceful protest outside whatever jail he's in, which will probably be Belmarsh. I'm up for that, you? And now we're going to have a few words from the man of God, Canon Philip Harris.
Good afternoon, everybody. Can I cause chaos for a couple of moments? Given the significance of today, I want you to look to a person to your left or to your right, or in front or behind, and get their attention and say, my name is, and give them your name, and I am from, and tell them where you're from, and make this statement to them. It is good to stand with you today. Would you do that in the next 30 seconds, just very quickly? Make sure that you've spoken to somebody, introduce yourself. Okay, so congratulations. Everybody should at least have one new friend that they can stand with. And by the end of these few words, I hope that I too am your friend. And so can I ask you to work with me for the next few moments. Today is a wonderful event. It's for the good people of this fair and pleasant land to meet, to say that we love our nation. And that is why we are here. You can do better than that. We love our nation. We do not love, however, what is being done to this nation by those that we have entrusted with power. And the actions of yesterday have only sought to galvanise people's feelings. The reason why I'm here today, and there's one reason, and that is because you are here. That's the reason I'm here. It's because you are here. There are all kinds of people all over this gathering this afternoon who are hurting, who are frustrated, who are angry, who are confused, who feel let down. And in the case of the family of Peter Lynch and others, are bereaved. It was always the way in times past that where people were hurting, that they were frustrated or angry or confused or let down or bereaved or in need of help, that they would seek out a cleric. And that is why I'm here today. I'm here for every single one of you. And that's why I accepted the invite. I'm here for those like Peter, whose lives have been ripped from us prematurely. And so may the souls of the faithful departed, through the mercy of God, rest in peace. However, as a priest in God's church, I feel that I need to do a couple of things before I hand the microphone back. I feel firstly that it is necessary for me to apologise to you for what the church has often done to you and how the church has let you down. And for that, I am sorry. I need to apologise for the church's involvement in scandals, where evil people, like in other institutions, have been able to infiltrate her ranks. The church should have been better, and I am sorry. The church is meant to be the hands and feet of Jesus. I'm therefore sorry for where the church has failed to and not stood up for the nation and spoken into the nation in the way that we have deserved. I'm sorry that the church has not protected the heritage of this nation and instead has gone after other agendas instead of the message of Jesus. And it's caused division, and it's caused hurt, and it's meant the church has not been with the people. It has not called out hypocrisy or wrong. It has not warned of the perils of turning away from the principles that this nation was founded on Judeo-Christian values. It's 2024. That's 2024 years since the birth of Christ. It's 7 days because on the seventh day God rested. And 7 days is the only cycle that works. A few metres away in the Houses of Parliament, in the central lobby, there is an inscription on the floor. And it says, unless the Lord builds a house, those that labour do so in vain. And so I just want to say today, if you are a cultural Christian, hold to those values. Better still, be inspired to find the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, who is weeping over this nation now. My name is Cameron Phil Harris. I'm from Old Hill in the West Midlands, and it's been good to stand with you, every single one of you, today. Thank you.
Big massive round of applause for Pastor Phil, and I think if every pastor or priest or father in the church was like him, the church would be full. Find out where he worships, go to his church and follow Pastor Phil on Twitter. Now we've got Russ, the Don. He's going to give you a treat, bringing us some fantastic music. Let's hear it from Russ the Don. He's going to sing a song called Save Me. Go on, Russ! Go on, lad. Go on, Russ. Still good, Russ.
Hello. It's working. Hello. Hello, London. My name is Ross the Don, and I am far right, just like many of you. So, Tommy, if he gets to watch this or he's watching this right now, it's a shame he can't be here. The only thing that's separating us from him is that dangerous man, Keir Starmer. Terrible. It is terrible. Punching money black holes. If you stop sending money to Ukraine and foreign climate aid, maybe we can help out our nation. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, enough of that. I've got a song here called Sailors. I think you might like it. Okay. Let me move this a second because I think it was my own fault. Is that too far left or sorry? Sorry. I should be over there. Yeah, sorry. Okay, we'll go again. Look at you. It's really twice in one day. Sorry, Robinson. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ross. Massive round of applause for Ross. Now, the next gentleman is extremely modest, but I'm going to introduce Danny Lockwood. And he said to me, I said, what do you want me to say about you, Danny? He said, just say, I'm a proud Yorkshireman and a friend of Tommy Robinson. There's a lot more to Danny Lockwood than that, but a big massive round of applause for Danny Lockwood.
Hello, London. Wow. It isn't often we Yorkshire boys get down the smoke. A couple of things. Firstly, I'm following the priest. I should admit that I am a sinner, because I, Dan Lockwood, am a journalist. And more than that, for over 40 years, I've been a member of the mainstream media. A little bit louder, please. Ooh! Heck, I even worked on the BBC! Ooh! But what I also have been is a colleague of Tommy Robinson for 10 years. I've worked with Tommy on two of his books, Enemy of the State and Silence. As an editor, I was once the director of the United Kingdom Society of Editors. I have been in front of judges for contempt and libel even more than Tommy. As such, it puts me in a good position to explain to you today what I believe he's just been put through. And I would not have been here today if Tommy had not been dragged off the streets and locked up yesterday. In my 46 years as a journalist, I've seen some grievous and egregious injustices carried out, but never have I seen two worse than the ones I'm just going to outline for you very briefly. In 2018, Tommy was dragged off the streets of Leeds by a judge called Jeffrey Marcy. He was locked up for weeks on end on a contempt of court charge that I can tell you now was not contempt of court. Indeed, if you remember the case, it was thrown out and Tommy was free. Such was the state of the British establishment that the Attorney General was instructed to go back and find something to get Tommy Robinson back in court, and they did. I sat in the Old Bailey in 2019 and I watched Dave Victoria Sharp tear up the 1981 Contempt of Court Act
and rewrite it specifically to put our friend in jail. That was unheralded in the history of my 46 years as a journalist and an editor. I thought it couldn't get worse than that, but it did. In 2021, you'll remember that Tommy was in court for libel. He was bankrupt, he didn't have a lawyer. The judge in that case, Sir Matthew Nickley, appointed me as what is called a Mackenzie friend. I sat by Tommy's side through the entire trial, helping him prepare his case, his defence, all the court documentation. And I thought I'd seen it all at the Old Bailey when they locked Tommy up. I haven't seen it all. In that 2-week trial, a young man from Huddersfield came on the first morning, gave a summary, 40 minutes of evidence, and then disappeared for the rest of the trial. He did not face his accusers. That court, Sir Matthew Nickley, heard from parents, teachers, a head teacher, social workers, Kirklees Council documentation about the character of that young man, Jamal Johnson. At the end of it, 5 young people from Huddersfield came and gave evidence. 5 courageous young people. And after 3 months, Justice Matthew Nickley was prepared to call us all back into court for his verdict. But he didn't. And the reason he didn't was because he was ashamed to face those children. And he found Tommy Robinson guilty, and he said of each one of those 5 children and those 7 teachers and parents that every single one of them lied. That's on the record, it's on the public record. He called every one of them a liar. And when he justified it in finding Tommy guilty, he said this: why did people lie? Who knows? People sometimes just lie. And with that, it destroyed Tommy's livelihood, it destroyed my faith in British justice, and it committed what, to me, was the biggest single injustice I've ever witnessed in my 46 years as a journalist. Tommy Robinson is a good man. I'm an ordinary journalist. Tommy Robinson, I can tell you, is an extraordinary journalist. A good man, a good patriot, and for one mainstream media journalist, I salute you, Tommy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for Danny Lockwood. I just want to have a look around at this space that we're all inhabiting at the moment.